Can a team full of Stanley Cup champions go 82-0 in NHL 24? That is right, boys. I've thrown a team together full of players who have won a Stanley Cup in their NHL careers, and we are going to see how dominant they could be, if they can go 82-0, if they can win 5 straight Stanley Cups, as we are going to be simulating for 5 full seasons to see how good this team could be. We have the Alberta champions. Rate the jerseys 1 to 10 in the comments below. And without any more talking, let's go ahead and take a look at the roster here in NHL 24. So if we go ahead and take a look at our roster here, on the first line, we are rocking with Mikko Rantanen, Nathan MacKinnon, and Nikita Kucherov. 296 overall players. Both are probably going to finish 1 and 2 in the Hart Trophy voting. And we also have a former 50-goal scorer in Mikko Rantanen, who's a 93 overall. On the second line, we are rocking with Brad Marchand, Steven Stamkos, and Jack Eichel. 2 90s and a 92 overall. Obviously, everybody on this team has a Stanley Cup to their resume. Jake Gensel, Sidney Crosby, and Mark Stone on the third line. I mean, Crosby and Gensel literally played together for like 5 years on the Pens. And Mark Stone is a very good two-way forward, obviously with the Vegas Golden Knights. And then finally, for our fourth line, we have Gabriel Landeskog, who is currently injured in real life, Evgeny Malkin, and Vladimir Tarasenko, an 87, 89, and 87 overall. That is a very good forward core. I don't know if it's the best I've ever created. Maybe when I had one of the legends in here, full of like Gretzky, Lemieux, Coffey, and all those guys, maybe my team was better. Defensively, though, we have Victor Hedman and Cale Makar, Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Mikhail Sergachev, and Chris Letang. I mean, poor Chris Letang. The dude's 36 years old. He really doesn't belong with the rest of the D-core here, but he's the only guy left that I could find that's a defenseman who is a Stanley Cup champion. Regardless, we have a very good D-core. Obviously, Hedman and Makar are like top 5, top 10 D-man in the entire league. I have no idea if Theodore and Pietrangelo actually play together on Vegas, but regardless, they're both 90 overall players. Sergachev also is a 90, and Chris Letang still rated pretty high at an 87 overall. And finally, for our goalies, we are rocking with Andrei Vasilevsky at a 94, and our backup is the menace Jordan Binnington, who's an 85. 2 Stanley Cup winning goaltenders. They both were starters when they won it as well, so that matters. And there it is, boys, our team. And we are going to see if this roster can go 82-0. Obviously, we have 5 chances to do so, as I'm going to simulate 5 full seasons. We are also going to see how many Stanley Cups we can win in that time frame. I'm willing to bet it's at least a couple, considering everybody on this roster has a ring to their resume. So before we go ahead and do that, if you guys do enjoy videos like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single live stream or video that I put out. Also, boys, the NHL playoffs have just started, I believe, 2 days ago. So let me know in the comments below who you guys think is going to take home the Stanley Cup at the end of the season. And in my personal opinion, it is the Edmonton Oilers. I've stuck with it basically the entire season. Even when we were like 2-9-1, I still believed in the Oilers to get it done, and I think that'll happen. But I mean, there's a few teams that I could honestly see go on and do it. So at the end of our very first season, the Alberta champs are going to go on. Definitely not go 82-0. I mean, we were 64-16-2, a very good record, but not to the level of dominance that I definitely was expecting. We had 130 points, best in the entire NHL, followed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Edmonton was good. Carolina, Vancouver, and Vegas were all up there at the bottom. We have the Seattle Kraken, Anaheim, LA were bottom 3, which is absolutely wild. The Islanders were also bad, as well as the San Jose Sharks. Nikita Kucherov's going to end up leading our team in goals with 41 and points with 101, followed by Mikko Rantanen, who had 95. A very good season by him. McKinnon only had 82, so a bit of a down year for the dog. Jack Eichel had 79, Stammer 78, Crosby was up there with 78, a very good season. Makar had 69. Brad Marchand had 24 goals and 55 points. Shea Theodore was okay on the goal side. Kucherov and Rantanen tied at 41 apiece. Stammer had 37, McKinnon 31, and Crosby 35, or no, 25. If we take a look at our starting goalie, Vasi went 51, 13, and 2, 6 shutouts, and very good stats. He's most likely going to end up winning the Vezina Trophy with those numbers. Stammer is going to end up leading everybody in scoring with 115 points, followed by Kucherov's 111, Pasta had 106. Nathan MacKinnon was up there. Matthews had a very good season, as well as Kucherov, who is on our team. Of course, every single player that's on our team is just a duplicate of the actual player. I wish EA Sports could rewrite that a little bit differently so I didn't have duplicates in every single simulation. Nonetheless, Austin Matthews going to lead in goals with 63, followed by Pasta, who had 54, Kaprizov Kucherov had 49. Nikita Kucherov had a good season, as well as Tage Thompson, who kind of struggled in real life. Mikko Rantanen. DeBrincat was up there. I mean, DeBrincat, man, what happened to him in the regular season? He had like 10 goals in the first 4 games of the season, and he didn't have barely any after that. I remember Detroit was on fire early on, man. I will not forget that. Vasi, of course, is going to break the single season record for wins at 51, followed by Stuart Skinner, who had 45. Vasi, the other Vasi, was up there. Ville Husso had 39. Ottinger, 39. If we take a look at the shutouts, my man with the mustache, Stuart Skinner, is going to lead with 9 on the season. 3 more than second place was Samsonov and Andrei Vasilevsky, each having 6 apiece. And in the very first round, we are up against the St. Louis Blues, who should be a relatively easy matchup for us. I mean, I'm expecting us to have pretty much deep playoff runs every single season, if not win the Stanley Cup every year. So in the first round of the playoffs, we were relatively dominant, beating the Blues in 5 games, and now we move on to the Colorado Avalanche, a much better team here in round number 2. Hopefully we can have the same exact result. And somehow we are actually going to end up losing in only the second round to Colorado in 6 games. So no Stanley Cup for 5 straight seasons, as the Boston Bruins will go on. We have a rematch of 2011, and it went the same exact way, with the Bruins winning in Game 7, maybe in Vancouver also. Now for the playoffs, Steven Stamkos is going to lead our team. He had 5 goals and 11 points in 11 games. Jack Eichel had 10, Kucherov 10, and McKinnon 10 as well. Let's see what Vasi did here. 6-5-0. Yeah, Andrei Vasilevsky was horrible. 3 straight seasons playing over 20 games, or actually over 23 games in the postseason. A 927, 937, 921. Obviously last season against Toronto, he was not great. Stammer's going to end up taking home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. The Maurice Richard will go to Matthews. The Norris to Charlie McAvoy. Connor Bedard is going to win the Calder. The Conn Smythe to the Rat, Brad Marchand. Vasi is going to win the Vezina, as the Selke will go to Alexander Barkov. Obviously, we did not have a very good season number 1. I don't think 82-0. Actually, it is already out of the question, but I'm kind of surprised. I thought this team would be a lot better. We didn't even go on and win the Stanley Cup in the first season, so that was very disappointing. Obviously, going 82-0 seems like an impossible feat at this moment, at least with the roster that we do have. But we should be able to win at least a few Stanley Cups here to see how good this roster could be, or maybe Stanley Cup champions put together on the same team don't do very well. Now, at the end of year number 2, the champs are going to go ahead and have a relatively similar record, 61-19-2. This season, only 124 points instead of 130. Now, if we take a look at the entire NHL, we are still the best team, so there's no reason why we should not go on and at least win 1 Stanley Cup. Colorado, of course, is very good. They knocked us out in the playoffs last season. They had 51 wins. Tampa Bay had 51. Nathan McKinnon is going to go ahead and lead our team in scoring with 105 points, followed by Nikita Kucherov, who had 96. Mikko Rantanen was up there at 85. Makar had 82. Eichel 72. Crosby had 69. Stammer had 65. Shea Theodore only 47 on our goals for our team. Kucherov will lead with 45, followed by Eichel. Jack Eichel had 37 goals on the season. Very impressive by him. Rantanen had 33. McKinnon 32. Obviously, Jake Gensel was not really the greatest, but he is playing on the third line. 22 goals is decent. And for our goalies, Vasi is going to go 48, 18, and 2. 4 shutouts and pretty mid stats, honestly. The shutouts really carry him for the year. Only a 906 save percentage is not really the greatest, especially for a 94. Jack Hughes will end up leading all skaters in scoring with 111 points, followed by Matthews, who had 108. McKinnon had 105. Jason Robertson was up there. Johnny Hockey is going to have a comeback season after only having, he had 74 points, which, is a decent season, but he's back up to being a 100-point player. 101 on the season, also 20 goals. Damn, he scored 42 years ago. Mitch Marner had 101, past the 98, and McDavid, who's been very quiet so far, only 24 goals and 98 points. Speaking of goals, Austin Matthews is going to lead with 67, followed by Laine, who had 53. Mikko Rantanen had 50. Kaprizov 48. Stammer 47. And Nikita Kucherov scoring at will at 45 goals on the season for the Alberta champs. Defensively, I don't think, Cale Makar was up there. He's on our team, 19 goals and 82 points, slightly behind Adam Fox, who despite only having 6 goals is going to be assists per game and put up 88 points on the season. Andrei Vasilevsky and Andrei Vasilevsky are going to be 1 win away from each other in the goalie standings. 49 wins. Arvasi had 48. Ottinger had 44. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen had 40 on Buffalo. And if we take a look at the shutouts here, Tampa Bay's Vasi is going to lead with 7 on the season, as we are going to end up playing the Minnesota Wild Wild in round number 1. Now, obviously, last year's playoff run didn't go great. We lost to the Avs in round number 2. We could end up playing them again, honestly, but hopefully this can be the season that we go on and cement ourselves as the best team in the NHL. And thankfully, this season, we have made the Stanley Cup Finals. Gentlemen, sweeping our way pretty much through the entire Western Conference. I mean, we swept Minnesota in round number 1, beat Dallas in 5, and Vancouver as well in 5, and now we play the Carolina Hurricanes, who, I mean, do have a very good team, so it should be a little bit of a tougher series, but still, let's see if we can go on and finally win our first Stanley Cup in our franchise's history. And the Alberta champions are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup, sweeping the Hurricanes in the finals. So we only ended up losing, what was it, 2 series or 2 games the entire playoff run, as we were absolutely dominant. Basically what we should have been last season here in year number 2. As who knew throwing together a team full of Stanley Cup champions would ultimately end up with, well, a Stanley Cup. As the Hurricanes are going to get swept again. They got swept last season in the conference finals. Very embarrassing, as Andrei Vasilevskiy going to win the Conn Smythe for the second time in his career, a .932 save percentage, and he had under a 2 goals against average per game. Very well deserved. I mean, Vasi's a 94 overall. About time he starts simulating like it. And there it is, the Stanley Cup about to be raised to Alberta, the place that I will be going on Wednesday to watch the Oilers play the Kings in game number 2. Regardless, here comes Sid the Kid, his 4th time lifting the Stanley Cup, as yet again he's a Stanley Cup champion 4 times, tying Wayne Gretzky all time as well. As we are just beginning, boys, we have at least 3 more seasons to go, hopefully many more Stanley Cup victories as well. Now in the playoffs, Mikko Rantanen is going to lead our team, 9 goals and 18 points in 18 games. Nathan MacKinnon had 17, Makar 17 as well. Nikita Kucherov was okay, I guess. Stammer, we had a lot of depth overall. I mean, we had, what, like 10 guys score over 12 points in the playoff run. And of course, Andrei Vasilevskiy, man, .933 save percentage and a .189 GAA. Also 3 shutouts in 18 games in the postseason. Very dominant as per usual. Sebastian Aho is going to lead the entire playoffs in scoring at 25, followed by Tyler Seguin's 21, Pettersson at 21, and Robertson 20. Jack Hughes is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Matthews again, the Maurice Richard. The Norris will go to Cale Makar. The Conn Smythe, obviously, to Vasi. The Vezina, also the Vasilevskiy. And the Selke will go back to Barkov for the 2nd straight season. We can have a better record. I honestly thought there was a slim chance that we could go 82-0. That's why I named it the title of the video. But I mean, I don't believe that's going to happen now. All I want is at least 4 Stanley Cups in the video, and I think I will go home happy. So I believe here in the 3rd season, we are going to go on and have our best regular season of the entire video. 66, 12, and 4, 136 points, as we were nothing short of dominant. Fresh off a Stanley Cup, so no Stanley Cup hangover. Tampa Bay came in 2nd place with 53 wins. Toronto actually had 50. Florida was up there, Carolina and Dallas. But I mean, nobody was close to the Alberta champions. I will admit some of these names are a little bit goofy for my teams, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Mikko Rantanen, 55 goals, 114 points. Absolutely dominant, reminiscing, absolutely dominant, reminding me of last season. He had 55 and 50, so had a great season this year in real life as well. Nathan MacKinnon had 110, Kucherov had 109, Makar 75, Stammer had a pretty good season, as well as Jack Eichel and Sidney Crosby. I mean, Crosby only having 12 goals is kind of tough, but I mean, he is 36 years old, playing on, what, the 4th line? I believe he's on the 4th or 3rd line, one of the 2, regardless. Goaltenders, Vasi's gonna go 49, 7, and 3 shutouts, or actually 6 shutouts, and a .926 save percentage and a only .203 GAA. So this dude is playing like a big boy. 94 overall, simulating like he should be, unlike Pekka Pasta, who's what, a 97. Don't even get me started on NHL's Be a Pro. Mikko Rantanen gonna lead everybody in scoring with 114 on the season. Marner and McKinnon had 110, Kucherov had 109, McDavid was up there at 106, Matthews 101, Kirill Kaprizov had a good season himself for goals. Obviously, Matthews is going to dominate, 65 on the year, followed by Pasta, who had 58, Rantanen 55. Matthew Tkachuk had a solid season, 45 goals. To Brinket at 44. Patrick Fortnite Laine, 42 goals. His bald self had, 26 years old. He's still pretty young, but man, he has just not lived up to expectations. 44 goals in his 2nd season. What could have been, man? -24, -29. Those are some rough stats. At the end of the day, I do believe in this guy. He was even decent in the playoffs. 5 goals, 12 points in 17 games as a sophomore. Colorado's Cale Makar is going to lead all defenders in scoring with 89 points, followed by Colorado's Makar is going to lead all defensemen in scoring at 89 points, followed by Carlson, who had 75. Dahlin also had 75, as well as our Cale Makar, who had 15 goals, and you guessed it, 75 points on the season. Andrei Vasilevsky again is going to lead all goalies in wins with 49, followed by the other Vasi. Bobrovsky was up there with 40. Shesterkin had 37. If we take a look at the shutouts, it's going to be a 4-way tie between Vasi, the man who shall not be named, Demers Linkins, and Freddie Anderson, all having 6 shutouts on the season. And right off the rip here, we are going to be going up against Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman. Yes, Zach Hyman in the very first round, which is not a team that I want to go up against. It's going to be a tough matchup and a tough way back to the Stanley Cup Finals, but I do believe our team can do it. And thankfully, we are going to end up beating the Oilers in 6 games in the first round. And again, in round number 2, we're going to have to play the Colorado Avalanche, who are a tough team, but luckily we dominated them last season. And also, what was the second round? We got rid of them in 5, and now in the conference finals, we are up against the Vegas Golden Knights. And just like that, for back-to-back seasons, we are in the Stanley Cup Finals. This time up against the Florida Panthers, who are looking for revenge for a few seasons ago now, when they faced the Vegas and got dominated in 5, so they're going to be very hungry. But so are we to go on and collect our second Stanley Cup of the video. And just like that, the Stanley Cup champions are going to go back-to-back for the second straight season, as we almost blew a 3-1 series lead with Florida. They obviously forced a Game 7, but we luckily clutched it up, and we again are going to take home the Stanley Cup. It did get scary for a little bit there. I thought we were going to win in like 5 or 6, but obviously once Florida won those 2, I was getting a little concerned. Now for the Conn Smythe, it's going to go to Nikita Kucherov, 9 goals and 30 points. This would be, I believe, his 3rd playoff run with over 30 points in it. I believe that would be his 3rd playoff run where he had 30 points, which is absolutely insane. I believe only a few players have done that. Probably Gretzky and Lemieux, and maybe that's it. As there it is, the Stanley Cup about to be raised on home ice for our fans here in Alberta. As our new captain, Nikita Kucherov's going to come and lift the Stanley Cup. I thought I had Crosby as the captain. Doesn't matter, as we yet again are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, baby. Mikko Rantanen is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Again, Matthews going to win the Maurice Richard. Our Cale Makar is going to win the Norris. The Conn Smythe, of course, went to Kucherov. The Vezina to Andrei Vasilevsky. And the Selke Trophy again to Barkov. As we pretty much dominated the entire award ceremony here. We won most of the individual awards, at least went to somebody on our team. Yet again, we are going to dominate the regular season, this time winning 67 games, 135 points. Obviously the best in our division in the entire NHL, as Tampa Bay was pretty close. Winnipeg was up there, New Jersey and Florida. Nikita Kucherov again is going to lead our team. He had 106 points, also 37 goals, followed by Mikko Rantanen, who ended up with 50 goals on the season and 98 points. Sidney Crosby at 97, Stammer 83, Eichel 82, and McKinnon 82. Now for Vasi, he had 56 wins on the season, 12-1. Vasi went 56, 12, and 1, 4 shutouts. Yeah, he's definitely going to win the Vezina again, shattering even his previous best record for the most wins in a single season by a goaltender. He had 56. Austin Matthews is going to lead the NHL in both goals with 70 and points with 117. Kucherov was up there, not ours, but the Tampa Bay Lightning one. Stammer had a good season, Robertson and our Kucherov. Vasi, of course, is going to lead in wins with 56, and for shutouts, it's going to go to Sergei Bobrovsky, who had 10 on the season. That's kind of insane. In my humble opinion, I think Bob should win the Vezina. 10 shutouts in a single year is absolutely wild. And for the first round matchup, we are going to be playing the Nashville Predators. So pretty much just think of Josh Giddey and the gang. Maybe throwing Karl Malone in there. And somehow the Vegas Golden Knights are actually going to end up beating us in the conference finals in 5 games, as the Rangers would go on and end up defeating Vegas in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals to win their first Stanley Cup in a long time. I mean, since the 1940s, they only have 1 Stanley Cup, I believe. Kucherov, again, is going to lead our team in the postseason. 9 goals, 16 points. McKinnon had 15 and Rantanen 13. Austin Matthews is pretty much going to take home all the individual awards. Makar is going to win the Norris, the Conn Smythe to Breadman. Vasi again, the Vezina, and the Selke again to Alexander Barkov. I have a feeling he's going to dominate this. Now for our final season of the video, we are by far going to have our worst regular season going 57, 19, and 6, 120 points, I believe. We were still the best team in the NHL, followed by Toronto, Florida, New York, and Vegas. Mikko Rantanen is going to lead our team in scoring with 93 points, followed by Kucherov, who had 90. Cale Makar had 86. McKinnon, 80 and 24 goals. Jack Eichel had 69. Stammer, 68. A pretty good season by him. He also had 33 goals. Crosby, I mean, he has been playing on the fourth line, so I can't really expect him to put up big numbers. Vasi, on the other hand, was not very good. 44, 13, and 3, 2 shutouts, and well below average numbers, as Matthews again is going to dominate, leading in goals with 77, almost goal per game, and points with 138. That'll never happen in real life. There's no shot he's going to get 61 apples in a single season. And for our final playoff run of the video, so far we only won 2 Stanley Cups. I'm looking to get a third here. In round number 1, we play the Winnipeg Jets, so hopefully this can be the season that we go on and win our third of the video. And unfortunately, we are going to end up getting swept in the conference finals by the Vancouver Canucks, as they got swept in the Stanley Cup finals to the Red Wings, and we are only going to end up finishing with 2 Stanley Cups in 5 years, not even getting close to 82-0. Matthews again is going to dominate the awards. The Norris to Cale Makar, the Conn Smythe will go to Patty Kane. Showtime, Patty Kane. Ilya Sorokin, the Vezina, and the Selke back to Barkov. And that will do it for this video, boys. I have gone ahead and created a full team full of Stanley Cup champions, and unlikely, or unfortunately I should say, they did not perform up to standard. We only won 2 Stanley Cups. We didn't even get close to going 82-0. I thought we would be way more dominant, but maybe not, considering some of the guys' ages on this roster. But overall, it was a very fun video to make. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.